Hey, what's up everybody? This is an episode that we're just kind of going through on co-living, Padsplit, whatever you want to call it. The three of us with another partner have gone in and purchased this home on West Rose. We bought it subject to. There'll be a whole video breakdown that I'm going to show you how we did that deal, how we found the deal, the whole structure of it, and then getting to this point right now. So right this moment, what we want to show you guys is the sort of small lessons, the do's, the don'ts that we've learned in the first 30 days of starting our endeavor in Padsplit. So Tim.
Good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, a lot of learnings. First time, so we had to get all the LLC, we had to get the drawings, we had to get all this stuff put together. So the first conversation was, what do we take out? How many rooms can we put in place? So we got all the way up to 10 rooms, and then we started to think, how can we lay this thing out? How can we make it work? And now we've kind of peeled it back with some help with Quentin. Want to give a shout out to Quentin with Padsplit. We're back down to 8. So 8 makes sense.
So why? Let's ask why. Why did 10 not work? Because this is 2,000 square feet, and we have a great clear layout to do 10 bedrooms. But the three of us together looked at and went through this with Quentin to figure out why that's not maybe the best idea. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, we're just gonna stack them in too much. And in order to get enough windows and exits, it was gonna be an increase in cost. So we're also thinking, how do we manage cost? How do we manage the plumbing, the electrical, windows, doors, all of these parts and pieces? We're trying to think, how do we maximize within our budget so we can keep our investor man happy and profitable?
Amazing. Okay, so step number one, let's just kind of get to the closing table. So we had the deal, we closed the deal. Now we've switched all of the utilities over. We've got the payment set up every month going through. Now is where the actual work starts. So you're suggesting that we looked at this floor plan, which is what happened. We went with 10 because we're like, how do we maximize profits on 10? Discovered that 10 might be not the right approach because again, we want people to stay, right? We don't want people to be
tenure
in sardine cans. We want is to be an experience for our clients. Based on that information and the guidance of Quentin, we went with 8 and then take it from there. What were the next steps?
Yeah, so really getting your contractors, getting your bids so that you know what is that. So you should always do 2 to 3. I prefer 3 bids for everything. So that's your framing, your drywall, all the demo items, and then you get to your electrical, you get to your HVAC, and you get to your plumbing. And then there's all the exterior and like the pretty curb appeal type stuff. But ultimately, you really want to get those electrical, plumbing, and HVAC bids in. And then you got to decide, are you going to do owner builder, which is another amendment in the city, learn that the hard way, or you can hire a general contractor and they can actually do all of the work and bid out all to the subcontractors.
So let's talk about that real quick. So our initial cost to get into the deal, I want to just put a round number. Let's just say it was $30,000. That was cash to close to get into the deal and title to transfer. We did that. What was the cost that we anticipated for the initial conversion?
Well, we wanted to be 100,000 all in minus the 30. So we were thinking 70,000 with all of the work and furnished and marketed and everything. So we have a budget of $70,000.
Exactly. So that was what we started with, right? We all looked at the numbers, like, okay, this looks great. This is great.
We had on the wall.
Sorry, what happened?
We threw that on the wall.
Threw that,
we said
exactly.
70 grand. We want to stay within 70 grand.
Exactly. So we actually had 2 bids that came in originally, and those 2 bids were approximately the same, between 41,000 up to around 50,000 mark. And we're like, okay, that makes sense. The 50,000 plus the 30 puts us at 80. We did a buffer of 20, so now we're at 100, right? So Tim, based on that information, what happened?
Well, once we started taking all the walls down and getting into it and understanding, and then it's like, well, we can add a wall here, we can add a window here. Oh, we're gonna do mini splits all over here. Oh, we wanna add this bathroom. Well, now we have to have a toilet. Well, are we gonna add the washer and dryer and then put a washer and dryer in the suite? It just keeps adding and adding and adding cost. Well, what about the insulation in the attic? We never checked, we don't know. It's about 2 inches of insulation in the attic. So we don't want our air conditioning.
Because wait, where are we? We're in Glendale, Arizona, and that's significant because if you're doing a pad split here versus, I don't know, Ohio, that's a huge difference in energy costs, right? So that's something we have to factor in because summertime's here, it's over 100 degrees every day.
117 right now.
117 right now. So that is a huge cost that's gonna have to get factored in because now you have HVAC, your AC is running all day long. You can't have a hot place to live. No one wants to live in a hot place, right? So
yeah, thinking about your ceiling, how do we keep the air in? That's why we may add a couple mini splits, and then, well, how do we make sure that in between each room, because again, our members, we want to keep the sound down. So then we might have to spray insulation for sound barrier. So again, that's just added cost. So again, it all adds up when you start thinking about, you want to stay within this $80,000 budget.
Exactly. So I think that's super important for new pad split or new co-living operators that want to learn how to do this and figure out, well, what does it really cost? This is really the breakdown that we're trying to show you guys is that, you know, things change on a dime, right? They can change very quickly and you have to factor in your future. Like the AC, huge. The bathrooms, huge, right? Those are going to be hard costs that you got to think about how to get your future tenants to be comfortable and in a good environment.
Yeah, and another thing, just from a curb appeal standpoint, I went ahead and already painted the outside of the house and made it look really nice. So again, from a curb appeal standpoint, this house was green, lime green almost, a light green. So we've already repainted it and did a two-tone. And then we also had our landscaper come through and he cleaned up the whole yard. But the issue is I did the landscaper first and then I did the painting, but he pressure washed the house and all the paint and all the chips and all that. So after I cleaned the whole yard, now I got to go have my landscaper come back and clean the yard again. So that was another wasted cost, kinda, but for the most part, I won't do that in that sequence next time.
So let me ask you this, Tim, from your perspective, knowing even in the first 30 days that we're in right now, what would you do differently to save on those costs that are going to get, you know, hit again?
100% get your drawings, get your layout, and then kind of open up some walls and just kind of think about really what does your layout need to be. Some of these walls are like 12 inches thick. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of wasted space there. So once you kind of open it up, then you can actually determine what drawings get submitted to the city that has to be permitted if you're going to do permits. If you're just going to do a light renovation where you're just adding paint, floors, and all the rooms are fine, you're not adding rooms, turning the garage into rooms, I would say most importantly, get your drawing, get your layout, get your draftsman so that you can maximize your layout.
Awesome. So just so everyone's really clear, what we're trying to do is we went from a 10-bedroom potential layout down to 8. However, what we've done is we've mixed that each room to be a different use case, right? So one of the premium rooms is going to be a double occupancy suite, right? And it's going to be fairly large. It's going to be self-contained, private bathroom, the whole 9 yards. We think that's a really good play for people that are a couple that want to live in a pad split or co-living sort of environment. The next is larger rooms that are more, again, premium in the sense where you have more space and you don't feel like you're just closed into a sardine can. The other one thing that we learned that was huge was living space, right? That's what Quentin was suggesting, saying, hey, you need some common space where people can walk around, have dinner, a table set up, maybe a couch set up. So we took all those things into consideration and really came back to this 8-room plan, which is really going to house 9 people.
Well, and I would say with Shad, being able to run the comps and to be able to make sure like, hey, here's what is happening in this area, and using the AI and the comps, that was another game changer for us to understand where's the demand based upon what we're trying to do.
Amazing. Really cool.
So on that note, that was another thing that Q mentioned and taught us just in the past couple of weeks is with 10 rooms, they were all going to be small and very affordable, but smaller rooms. And what we learned was when you go to market, if you have the same inventory over and over, if you have 10 rooms that are all priced at the same exact price, you're competing against yourself. Each room that you have is competing against the other rooms that you have. But if you have larger rooms, smaller rooms, different rooms with different amenities, you're going to have different tenant types, personas, if you will, come in to rent those rooms out.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is a really great 30-day check-in, and we're going to continue doing check-ins with you guys and show you all of our do's and don'ts, because our plan here as a team, we want to scale and really get as many doors as we can. And again, like, this is through like Quentin, through his words, right? This is a business. You're not just taking, you know, a property and just cramming it. It's a value demonstration. What kind of value can you bring to your clients, which are the tenants, as a business? And if we can scale this business, I think there's a twofold win. Number one, we're solving a problem in the country with affordable housing. And number two, we're, you know, finding a way to generate profit as investors in a way that is really meaningful and helpful.
Well, and another thing, Quentin, and keep giving him a shout out, but thinking about parking, thinking about our area and our demographics. And again, to Shad's point, like, you could go down the street and go get an apartment for $1,500 or $1,200. Like, we're trying to compete with that. But when we pick a property, we want a property that it fits, right? It fits the environment of what we have, and we've got to figure out the parking situation. So if we have 10 bedrooms, we need 10 parking spots or 8 parking spots. That makes it really kind of tough. So how do we maximize that is another thing you got to think about in your strategy. And the other thing I think is important is referrals. Like, we've got to bring in our members, but how do we does the members bring in more members? So thinking about that. And again, he brought up a great point, like providing food for Thanksgiving so that you bring your friends over and then they realize, oh wait, you're only paying $800, $900 a month for this place. Like, what does co-living mean and how does that work? So yeah, just lots of thoughts to help us be successful. So
amazing.
You should come check it out.
Last minute takeaways, Tim. What are the next steps moving forward that are going to be the hard things to tackle or things that you have to tackle going forward?
Most importantly is finalizing the permit process, getting the framing and everything kind of roughed out, and then we'll start electrical rough in, plumbing rough in, HVAC rough in, and then we'll have to do our city inspections once our actual permit set drawings get approved by the city, and then we're into inspections. And we're chasing the clock. So 10/31, we're going to be open.
And guys, we're trying to do end of October, essentially November 1st.
Halloween. Open Halloween.
Maybe we'll have a Halloween
coming
party.
soon. Yes.
Cool, man. Well, awesome. We'll do another check-in when we get a little further, maybe next month. For now, we're gonna maybe I can drop a budget and show you what our projected budget is, and hopefully by the end we actually land on that budget. That's really what we're trying to aim for. So,
and we shouldn't do a meetup. Bring them over.
Yeah.
I got a couple people coming right now. I'm gonna go open the door for them, and we're gonna hold more meetups because we want to educate people. Right? I want to show you guys what we're learning. We're learning a lot already just in month 1 of doing this. But we're also looking for private money partners and private money lenders so we can leverage our experience and our mentors to go help other people get into this space. It's a worthy cause. Everybody that we've met can get behind this cause and we want to expand on it.
Shad Najumi, Gordon Saran, Tim Bates. Follow us on social. Tim
Bates.
I am Gordon Saran on Instagram.
Vintegrator, just integrator with a V.
There we go. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll check in next month.
See you all. Thank you.
Cheers.
We gotta be
100%. We can still do. We can come back and do this.
I thought this was funny. I thought this was like.
What is it? What is it?
It's a safety pin. Just told me. I thought it was funny.
And we're all safe, huh?
We think our guesstimation there's going to be 129 gold bricks in here, and we're going to have a very pleasant surprise. It's going to find all the deals.
I think it'll be some Bitcoin or something like that from the 70s.
So, yeah, 70s Bitcoin is in here.